Hey, how's it going, everybody? Ultimately Unlucky back again, once again, for my team overview of the PCL off-season Screw My Draft format. And so this is the off-season for the PCL, as we decided to do this as we did not want to have an unnecessarily long wait for Ultra Sun Moon to come out and evaluate the few new Pokemon and Z moves that come into the new meta. So, and as well as some of the coaches of the PCL have some very busy life work right now, so we thought about doing this as it does not require that much dedication, since it's just meant to be a fun sort of off season. So yes, you can see my draft around the screen. Mega Blastoise, Superior, Infernape, Azelf, Crobat, Klefki, Greninja, Pylo, Swinefrost, Torterra, and Luxray. I'll be going over all of them really quickly, but I just want to go over the rules of this draft format just so you all know how this all worked out beforehand. So, every draft must consist of 11 Pokemon, 1 Mega, and 2 Mons from each of the 5 tiers, and that kind of worked out. So, Mega Blastoise was my Mega, of course, and every 2 sets of Mons were from 2 respective tiers. Superior Infernape Tier 1, Azelf Crobat Tier 2, Klefki Greninja Tier 3, Pylo Swinefrost Tier 4, Torterra Tier 5, as well as Luxray's Tier 5. So, we can only draft 1 Mon for ourselves, which is our first round pick, which is part of our 11 Mon draft. I decided to go for Mega Blastoise. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about all my Mons later on, but yeah, Mega Blastoise was my own personal pick. And then in the rounds after that, once it's your turn to pick a Mon, you pick a coach and you pick a Mon to draft for them in a available slot they have left. So, kind of the main kink in the Screw My Draft format, where your entire draft will become drafted by the other coaches of the league. You cannot pick the same coach in back-to-back rounds. It's just to prevent like one person picking an entire draft for someone they may or may not like. So at most, someone could have picked 5 Mons for someone, and I don't think that even led to become the case. So, whoever you are picking for must consent to a Tier 5 middle or first stage Pokemon. If they do not, you must change the pick. This is so you don't just get very bad middle and little cup Pokemon. This rule does not apply to Dusclops, Electabuzz, Ferocity, Girder, Magmar, Misdreavus, Rhydon, and Scyther, as they are all good enough to not have this rule applied to them, but none of them were drafted anyway, so this rule didn't have to come into effect at all. Only one randomized free agency, which becomes a randomized Pokemon of each tier. And so this is just to let someone get rid of something they don't like, to potentially get something they may or may not like. I'm recording this the day after the draft, and every coach already used it, including myself. I used it to get Piloswine, who I originally had as a Chestnut. It's kind of okay, but scrolling down. The same type cannot appear on a team more than 4 times. This is just to prevent monotype, as monotype is just really annoying. And during round 12, we pick our own Z Crystal, one Z Crystal that all of my Mons can use. I picked Psychium Z for a couple reasons. I picked it mainly because I think Z Crystals don't have that big of an effect. Superior has Z Miracle, which is always fun shenanigans with that. Azelf is the best user of this, as it gets moves like Trick Room, and of course Stab Psychic. Greninja gets Extra Sensory, and the only other Mon who has access to potentially using this are Klefki with maybe some sort of random status shenanigans, and Crobat with the Hypnosis would probably never use that. But I have Psychium Z nonetheless. There's not really anything else that intrigued me more. Maybe the Grassium Z and the Poisonium Z were on my mind at the time, but I decided to go Psychium Z. So, yep, let's just hop over to Showdown. So, here we got the full draft. So, we're going to talk about every Mon. Okay, so starting off with Mega Blastoise, my first pick, nicknamed Ignatius. Nicknames don't really matter that much with most of these Mons, but they all have them. I want to make sure they all had something before recording this. So, I decided to pick Mega Blastoise because it's really, really defensive. Both those defense stats are over base 100, and it's even offensively very good, with attack stats are really high. Special attack is mainly something we're going to abuse the most, but that physical attack stat is nothing to laugh at either. So So it also gets access to Rapid Spin. Really good move to have. I also did this to have the off chance that we would not get hazard removal. Besides Mega Blastoise, the only form of hazard removal we have is Defog and Crobat. So it's kind of right to get Mega Blastoise to help out for Rapid Spinning. And like it gets those few status moves that help out a lot in draft format. We got Haze, we got Roar, we got Toxic. But then we also got some moves that hit very hard. Water Spout is really powerful if we're at full HP. We got, of course, Scald and Water Pulse. Very powerful water type moves thanks to Blastoise's Mega Launcher. Of course, Ice Beam to hit those pesky quad weaknesses, which a lot of teams actually have. And I'm kind of blessed to be one of those teams who does not have too many quad weaknesses. I only have Torterra, who's quad weak to Ice, and I have a lot of resistances to Ice on my team. So yeah, I'm very fortunate to have that. And Aqua Jet is just also a very okay move to have, as it can potentially give us some chip damage that matters a lot in draft format. And that's kind of the main reason to talk about Mega Blastoise. And I just really did not have any other Mega that came to my mind. Mega Charizard X was something, but I decided over Mega Blastoise over it, as I figured the defensive parts of Mega Blastoise would be better. And it kind of did prove more justified when I got my entire draft, as it's not very bulky and I have no form of longevity. So Mega Blastoise is definitely going to be a good defensive mon. Moving on to Superior, I got from my second round pick, I think. It was a randomized pick, I know that for sure, but Superior is a mon I've always wanted to draft it in Draft League format. Contrary, its main selling point was Leaf Storm. And like I said, that Superior gets access to Mirror Coat, which makes it work with the Psychium Z, giving us a very powerful Psychic type move to hit those pesky poison types, which are really the only mons that's out Superior besides maybe Steel types. But not a lot of teams have Steel types, and I don't think I faced teams that have a high number of Steel types. I do not think, but it's got a nice chunk of status moves. Synthesis and Leech are very good, getting back HP. It's a form of longevity, but Superior is not overly bulky with the base 95 in both defenses and 75 HP, so we're not going to live much, but the speed is amazing. And special attack is laughable, but once we get boost up with Leaf Storm, that really helps out a lot. And like, it's really just one of the mons I've wanted to use in draft format the most, but I just never really got the chance to until I got it randomized. Moving on, we got Infernape. So Infernape is also a very good mod to have in Draft League format. So Iron Fist, just like Superior, is going to be the main ability we would want unless we're running a special set. So Iron Fist will boost all the punching moves Infernape has, which includes Fire Punch, Focus Punch, Mach Punch, Power Punch, and Thunder Punch. So we probably use Iron Fist to mostly abuse Thunder Punch and Mach Punch, as Infernape has better fire physical options than it should have better fire options than Iron Fist. Fire Punch, but I don't know for certain, but Blaze Kick and Flare Blitz are just both phenomenal physical fire type moves, and it even gets access to a good special fire type pool with Fire Blast and Fire Blast and Flamethrower. And its fighting coverage, it gets the two main moves of each on both physical and special sides. Close combat for physical, Focus Blast for special. And just looking at the rest of Infernape's move pool, Stealth Rocks, it is one of my 3 Stealth Rockers on my team. The other 2 being Piloswine and Torterra. And like, Infernape gets very nice moves. U-Turn allows me for momentum. Taunt to stop those pesky status users. Shadow Claw, Rock Slide, and Stone Edge, very solid coverage moves. And then we got Poison Jab and Gunk Shot. Yep, Gunk Shot. So we can hit the fairy types. So we have quite a bit of poison coverage, which is kind of why I want the Poisonium Z. But got the Psychium Z now, so it's all good. And Infernape is also, I realized it during, like, a bit earlier before I started recording, that Infernape gets access to Slack Off, which is more recovery on my team. But just like superior. Infernape's not bulky at all, with base 71 both defense stats and 76 in HP. But we do have 104 in both attack stats and 108 in speed, which is not laughable at all. They are very good. And like Infernape is definitely not going to be a hindrance. We got Vacuum Wave all the way down here. That helps us in special side. And it even gets set up in Nasty Plot, Sword Stance, Calm Mind, and Bulk Up. So we have ourselves some options here. How to run Infernape. It's definitely going to help with a good offensive presence with Superior. Now, moving on, we got Azelf. So, Azelf, one going over it, this is kind of the Pokemon I know the least amount of my entire draft. So, Azelf, the mon who's going to be abusing the Psychium Z the most. As of course, Psychic is a stab. Levitate's versatile ability gives us immunity to ground. But we do have Crobat, who also has the immunity to ground to help us out with that. We aren't weak to ground, per se. So, it's not that big of an issue, but looking at Azelf's moveset, it is still very spectacular, which works in conjunction with its very good attack and special attack and speed. Just really high. Looks really impressive. Like, Azelf's just that mon I have never used for. Looking at it, we got a lot of coverage. Like, we got Zen, Headbutt, and Psychic on both physical and special side, U-Turn for momentum, Trick and Toxic and Thunder Wave, and Taunt, and Stealth Rocks. So, that's actually 4 Stealth Rockers I have. So, that's very phenomenal. Side Shock as well is also very good in draft format. Knock Off to get rid of all the items. Ice Punch, Ice Beam. No, just Ice Punch. Ice Punch, and you got Energy Ball, all these great fire type moves. And set up Calm Mind, Dazzling Gleam, fairy type move, helps a lot. And it's on paper, Azelf just seems really good. So I think I can definitely learn to grow to it once I figure out how it works in battle. But I definitely think the Psychium Z is most likely going to be used on Azelf, but only time will tell, as it is a 6-week main season league, because I didn't mention that earlier. So moving on, we got Crobat. So Crobat, it was my last pick in the draft actually, so there is always that. So, but Crobat, just like Spirit, a mon I've always wanted to use in draft league format, but again, never really got the chance to. So, looking at its stats, so the main bunch of it is kind of average, going between 70, 80, 85, and 90, with an astounding speed stat of 130. So, yeah, the stats, they give us a lot of options, as they kind of are all the same, so we can definitely do a lot with Crobat. Infiltrator, it's a really good ability to have, as some teams might abuse Substitute more than others, especially against my team, since I have not a lot of recovery. Crobat does get Roost though. Like, I've seen Crobat used a lot, I just never really got a chance to use it. U-Turn, of course, is more momentum. We got, of course, Taunt and Tailwind. Taunt, get rid of Taunt for the obvious things. Tailwind, it helps boost up our team speed. So that can help with mons like Mega Blastoise and perhaps Torterra and Piloswine. And actually helps with Luxray even more, as Luxray is not that fast. And we got some nice move pool as Crobat as well. Nasty Plot, it helps us if we want to run special set on Crobat. And like Crobat got the nice special move pool of Sludge Bomb, Shadow Ball, Air Slash, Dark Pulse, Giga Drain. Like, it's just, its moves pool is really phenomenal. And like on physical side, X Scissor, if you don't want U-Turn for some reason. Super Fang, it can definitely help against the more defensive mons. We get Brave Bird, Acrobatics for a very good Fine Stab, and Cross Poison, I believe. I know it gets Cross Poison, I think it's down here. Yep, there it is. We get the access to Cross Poison. And looking at it, there's not that much else that takes out the Crobat, but it moves that is really good though. And It's definitely going to have a very prominent role in the team, I believe, but I just haven't really done any prepping for my first match yet, so I cannot really tell. Next up, we got Klefki. So Klefki in PCL Season 4, I had to prep for teams that had it on 3 times because it kept getting traded back and forth. So Prankster, main selling point. It helps out because we get both of the screens, reflect and light screen. So attacks will do half as much damage against us, which can be really good, since again, our team has no longevity throughout. So foul play, good move to have. We use our opponent's attack stat, since Klefki does not have good stats all around, really. Toxic, Thunder Wave, and Switcheroo with spikes. Those are just really 4 phenomenal status moves for it to have, which are always threatening to my opponent's teams. Since I don't think a lot of teams have dark types on them, I think that's the type a lot of teams don't really have. They either have it or they have it in spades in conjunction to something else. But Klefki is just that annoyance that I finally get to use. Offensively, it's not very gifted. Physically, we got, looking at stats, it's 80 at both attack stats, so we can really run either way. We got Flash Cannon for steal coverage, and we got Play Rough or Fairy coverage on the physical side. Let's see, on the physical side, I don't think we have any steal moves at all. But I don't think that'll be an issue, perhaps. Again, I just haven't really looked into how my matchups compare to others. I know who I face, I just haven't looked into it that well. But I think I can use Klefki to definitely help out and be an annoyance to my opponent. Sometimes screens, or just a prankster mod in general, forces your opponent to prep differently, as they always have that kind of thought process in mind. In fact, it's a steel and a fairy type, it really helps out. Gives me that dragon immunity. It gives me a lot of resistances as well. And the steel type gets rid of the poison weakness as it comes to immunity. So we are immune to poison and dragon. Dragon we definitely have to face first week. I know that for sure, so Klefki could definitely help out there. And it can probably be a very nice defensive mon in terms of Mega Blastoise. I don't know specifically, but Klefki's weak to fire, and Blastoise resists it. Blastoise is weak to grass, Klefki resists it. So it's really just that defensive idea that I can think Klefki is going to help us with, and just being a support mon who's not going to be out in the front lines a lot. But I definitely can see how it can help out my team and not hinder it. Moving on to my next tier 3 mon is Greninja. So Greninja in PCL, it can only have Torrent, it can't use Protein, it can't use Battle Bond. It's locked in Torrent. 120 speed, 103 special attack is really good. And so we're going to use the special attack probably more than anything else. But we do have the physical option if we need it be. We get both toxic spikes and normal spikes. U-turn as well for even more momentum. We are moving our team all over the place. So looking at our move pool, we got Water Pulse and Night Slash for the main physical side. Gunk Shot as well, that really helps against fairy types, in fact. And on the special side, we got Scald, we got Dark Pulse, Extra Sensory, we can slap Psychium Z on there, we got Ice Beam, and again, the Greninja is probably just going to be here for an offensive role. So there's really just not much more I can say about Greninja. I don't know how it works in Draft League format because I've never really seen it used before. So moving on, we got Piloswine. So Piloswine, it was my randomized free agency mon from Chestnut. I got rid of Chestnut because I would have 3 grass types there, Chestnut, Torterra, and Superior, and I already had a Superior fighting type in Infernape, so Chestnut just kind of proved an irrelevant role. It could have been a defensive mon, but Piloswine is pretty tanky as well. Thick Fat with Eviolite, that just really helps out a lot, as we take half damage from fire and ice type moves, which again we're not overly weak to, but the option is still there. So it is blessed to have those very powerful ice type physical moves. Ice Shard, Icicle Crash, and Icicle Spear, all phenomenal, and some of the teams we are facing, they are overly weak to ice. And we got Earthquake for our very nice ground coverage, and we got Stealth Rock if we need them, Stone and Rock Slide for our rock coverage. And basically Piloswine is a mini version of Mamoswine, who has always interested me in drafting in draft format. Freeze Dry can also help, per se, if we are going up against a very pesky water type. We do go up against a team with Pelipper, so that would make Pelipper quad weak to Freeze Dry. So there is always that potential if Pelipper would for some reason be brought. But yeah, Piloswine is also just probably going to be a main part of my defensive side of the team, with it, Mega Blastoise, and Klefki. So kind of get some more defensive mons with like the lower tiered, but it's still not phenomenal. Moving on to Frostlass, Cursed Body is just going to be the main ability we would want, as Snow Cloak is useless. The stats, 110 speed, very fast, and then that means it's very frail, much like the rest of my draft. We do get, I'm just realizing now we get a Roar Veil, so I mean if we ever do face Hail, I don't think we do at all though. We can always slap that on. So we got your typical ghost type status moves: Will-O-Wisp, Trick, Toxic, Thunder Wave, Taunt, Switcheroo. So yeah, Trick and Switcheroo are actually the same thing, so, but still. We get Spikes, so that's 2 Spike Setters we have. No, 3 Spike Setters. 3 Spike Setters, 4 Stealth Rock Setters, and 1 Toxic Spike Setters. So our hazard stacking is really phenomenal. And like, really, Frostlass is the most controversial mon on the team. The ghost typing is nice. We get the immunity to fighting in normal, which we don't have that many resistances to. But the ice typing, when compared to bringing it or Piloswine for an offensive ice typing, I would definitely go for Piloswine. Let's see. Piloswine has the superior physical attack stat, and while Frostlass can do special better, like when you get access to Ice Shard, which can be really good, again in most cases, you're probably going to want to focus on using that better. And Pain Split, it's not really any longevity, since we're only base 70 HP and not bulky in any sense. So we'd probably be losing more than we'd be gaining back in the end of the turn. So I cannot imagine that many situations that Frostlass will be here, but the option is always here to present itself. Final 2 mons in tier 5, we got Torterra, Shell Armor, the only ability we'll ever need to prevent crits. The quad ice weakness is very bad, but again, we're not that weak to ice. Infernape has the quad resistance, Klefki resist it, Blastoise resist it, Greninja resist it, and Piloswine is also there. So Torterra is just a really defensive mon. I would probably use it for that purpose, as it's a defensive mon with access to recovery move in the form of Synthesis. So that is very nice. And we get access to Amnesia, so we can boost up our moderate special defense and really just exploit Torterra's ability to be a tank. And its offensive move pool is kind of average, but it gets the job done. You get powerful grass type moves with Wood Hammer, Seed Bomb, and we get the powerful Earthquake. We got the 2 main rock type moves, Stealth Rocks. But overall, I think Torterra would be brought defensively more than offensively. And I'm also seeing now that it gets Stockpile. So that's really cool. As we boost both of our defense stats up. Yeah, like, I've never used Torterra before, so I'm kind of looking over its set moves to see what I can work with it. But, like, it's very impressive, but the Quad Ice weakness is always a bit scary, coupled with the fact that it's pitifully slow. So, but I think it can definitely be brought as a defensive Mon for a lot of situations, perhaps. I don't think the combination of grass and ground gives a lot of resistances. The immunity to electric is something. It helps out with Mega Blastoise, but the 2 types kind of, I think they kind of just get rid of their resistances. Because I think ground resists fire, but grass is weak to it, so it becomes neutral. It's either that or it's just weak to fire. That's something I don't remember off the top of my head. But that's kind of all I can say about Torterra. I really don't know if I would bring it over perhaps Palutena or Superior. Like, it's kind of the second most controversial Mon to bring in matches, with Frostlass being the first. Okay, the last Mon I got is Luxray. Luxray stats: it got good attack, okay special attack, moderate in everything else. The ability wise, Intimidate, Guts, very solid abilities. I would probably run Intimidate more often than Guts. As well, Facade Flame Orb is powerful. Unless I have Tailwind support up, I'm not really going to outspeed a lot. We also get access to Volt Switch, so we got the momentum if we need it. And let's see. Ice Fang for ground types, Fire Fang for grass types, although Ice Fang also hits those in fact, so. Let's see, Crunch. It's only physical electric move, it's Wild Charge. Granted, that is the only okay physical electric move. So it's kind of lackluster with that, but nonetheless, Luxray is just really that Mon that doesn't stand out because of its mediocre stats. Doesn't mean I can't use it, I just have to keep preparing myself. The opportunity needs to present itself to me. So that's kind of just the overview of the team. I definitely dragged it out a lot longer than I should have. And yeah, it only runs for the main season of the league only runs for 6 weeks. How playoffs work we have not determined. My schedule is right here, I highlighted it. It's all the way on the right of the screen. Not really going to show the teams yet, but yep. And it's also my first time trying to do this recording setup with the actual layout instead of just a poorly edited review of the teams on the right side screen. So yeah, I think this looks a lot better. Hopefully no problems occur, and I'm just not going to drag this out for any longer. All I can say is, once again, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to smack the like button down below and subscribe. As you already know, your support is greatly appreciated. And the last thing I can ask for you is stay tuned for the entire PCL Screw My Draft offseason to see if I ended up ultimately unlucky.